Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Anna here, and if you're new to my channel, this is where I am logging my journey, my process in weight loss through the Cambridge Weight Plan diet, or the one-to-one diet as it has recently been rebranded to. I have been on it since the 1st of June, and every week I log a video with an update on the weight loss that I've had that week and any learnings, experiences, how I've been feeling, etc. So please subscribe, hit the notification button, get involved, leave comments. I'd love to hear from every one of you in terms of how you're feeling, the use of these videos, and anything else that you would like to know. So I'll give you a quick update on where I am, but first of all, I am feeling a little bit tired, so you know that I'm normally high energy. Today I'm as tired as I think I look. Look at these eyes. I've had a stressful week, and it's been a bit of an interesting week because I've been on this for 6 months. So as you know, if you know anything about the Cambridge diet, you know that you have 6 different steps. The first one, if that's the one that is right for you, if you've got a fair amount of weight to lose, is to be on Soul Source, or step 1, which means you're replacing all of your meals with 4 or 3 products depending on your BMI, your height, etc. And you do that for a period of 12 weeks. Then you stop for a week. You still do 3 products and 1 meal of 200 calories, but proper food. And then if you have more weight to lose, you go on it for another 12 weeks. So I have just finished the second round of 12 weeks. And last week, I completed my second round of step 2. So that I am now back on step 1 for the third round of it. I think I may have to do 4 or 3.5 to get to my goal weight, but I'll take it as it comes. I've got a holiday in Feb where I'm going skiing. I'll have to go to at least step 3, step 4, so that I can build up my strength for skiing on my legs, etc. So that might slow things down. We'll see how I go. I'm not worried about it. I'm going through my steps. I'm working around it, so I'll get there. But this was week 2. It was also, excuse me guys, I know you don't want to hear, the men don't like to hear about this. It was also period week, so I was a little bit worried about what that may mean for my weight loss. The weight loss surprisingly hasn't been bad. What that's meant is that I have felt though quite drained, which is interesting because the food was good, but it felt heavy actually eating and consuming food. My stomach felt quite heavy doing that. And I also felt that I was craving more food than before, or I would not craving, but I would actually wake up in the mornings feeling hungry, which is something I have not had for months. So it was just quite interesting to get that feel of hunger in the stomach and the stomach churning again. I haven't had that for a while. So it has been quite an interesting week. But from a weight loss perspective, much better than I expected. I lost 1.2 kilos this week, which is a total of, let me get my cheat sheet, it is 2.6 pounds. So that puts me at a total of 41.9 kilos in 6 months. Let's be very clear around that. And that is 93 pounds, which is the equivalent of 6.6 stones. You know I'm delighted with my weight loss. I mean, 6 months ago, I could not have dreamed to be in this position. But it made me think about it because actually this morning and the last week I've been waking up. I think it was because of body-wise, everything I've been going through. I've been finding it quite difficult to get up in the mornings. I've been a little bit on the tired side. It's just taken me a while to wake up. I feel like I'm a little bit drained. So I don't know whether I'm just have a bit of a bug and I'm trying to work through it, or whether it's just part of the phase, or a million one things, but I haven't quite felt at my full super energetic self. So I thought, I normally like to be really upbeat, but you know that I also like to keep it real, tell you the truth, share how I'm feeling, the reality of what this is taking from me. And it made me think about the subject of this week, which is what people see that it takes you to do a diet and to lose the weight, versus what it actually takes. And there is a big difference between the two. And earlier in the week, I saw a chart that I thought was perfect because it was about achieving goals and what it takes, and it showed an iceberg. And if you think about the iceberg as a triangle, and then you got the waterline, you only see the tip of the iceberg, but then there's all of that stuff underneath. And that was so real to me in terms of what it actually takes, because people only see a tiny bit of what you're doing around your weight loss, but there is this whole range of other things that you need to do to prepare for it. And I even think of myself when I've in the past looked for inspiration, trying to see people that have lost weight and everything, and what you have seen and what you take away, you only get to see a snippet of what they do. And even me here, I share as much as I can in the time that I got with you, but I cannot in any way give you absolutely every single thing that I do during the week, or what it takes from me to focus on the diet and to make sure that I am achieving the results that I have been achieving. So I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit, because I think it's very important to really take stock of what it takes to do a diet like this, or any diet, or to achieve anything you set yourself to do, and really the focus and the effort needed to get to the finish line, to get to that final outcome that you want, versus your perceived intention up front. Because we all, I've been in the space in the past of wanting to start a diet, and you start the first day and you're like so convinced that you want to do it. You're like, I'm on it, I'm going to do this is going to be it, I'm going to lose the weight, no chance I'm not doing it this time. And then you start your first day, you're doing okay, you get to night, and okay, this is maybe not quite as fun. Then you get to day 2, then you get to day 3, and you're struggling a bit more, and then the little voices start in your head, and you start finding all of these excuses, and before you know it, all of those great intentions and great aspirations that you had kind of dwindle away, and we don't end up making it. So I thought, I am feeling tired. I have been struggling with energy lately, but I'm still going through it. I'm still doing all of the things that I normally do to take care of myself, and I thought it was worth sharing a little bit of the reflections on what we see and what people don't see, but we still have to do to make sure that we get to that final weight loss outcome that we want to achieve. So let me just go through that, because if I focus on the tip of that iceberg that I spoke about, just a tiny bit, what people see, whether you're looking at people on Instagram, whether you're seeing somebody in the office, whether you watch somebody like me with a video like this, or something else, what are the things that come to mind to you? What are the sort of things that you may see, and you may see, oh, they've had great success, great achievements in losing the weight. They may have had rapid weight loss, and that's something that inspires you, and you want to have. You see the before and afters, and you see what a great difference it makes to how they look, how they feel. You may see the shift in energy. You may see that people look like they're happier. You also see the before photos that you see on people that are always like sour grapes, really really unhappy, and then when you fast forward to the after photo, everybody's always happy and glowing and big smile, and it's great to rejoice on the big achievement that you have done, and you should celebrate that. It's a great thing, but there is a big process in between, and it's very difficult to really understand what that process is and what it means and what it takes to get from here to there. So that's something that I wanted to touch on, because it could be easy to assume that it is easy to do, and even if I come and I say, I found it so surprisingly easy, and I don't have a problem sticking to the products and everything else, but I have done a fair amount of work to make sure that I've set myself up for success in doing that, and that involves a whole range of different things, and I've thought through what that means. So I just wanted to go through other things that may not be quite as easy and upbeat and happy and everything, but actually those are the things that make the biggest difference to whether you achieve your weight loss results or not. At least I've definitely benefited from them, so I just wanted to share that with you. And you know, hopefully you can you'll get some value and some benefit from it. So what are the things that are underneath the waterline of that iceberg that people don't normally see? Is I'll start with the obvious one, which is effort. You know, it takes effort to do a diet. It takes effort to break your routines. It takes effort to change your usual dynamics, to change your natural preconditions or habits or tendencies to behave, to do, to eat, to react in a certain way to different things. And you know, it may be that you use food as a coping mechanism. I definitely have done in the past for lack of sleep, for tired, for stress. I would eat my way through my emotions. And I can't do that now, so it takes effort for me to think about how do I work through that. It takes effort for me to think how am I going to fit my products. It takes effort for me to think about what are the things that I enjoy and what are the products that I like and I don't like, and why am I going to have one in a way that is better than others. It will take effort from me to not go out for meals like I used to and stay at home and have products instead. You know, all of that takes effort, but all of those things are efforts that are worth doing if you want to get the final result that you need to achieve, that you want to achieve. The other thing, the second thing in that list in terms of what it takes is consistency, because it's not just about putting the effort 1 day or 2 days. You need to do that consistently for an extended period of time. This is not something that you can just start and stop. And I have been the queen of JoJo dieting for the longest time. I have done all forms of diet. I have created all forms of excuses for doing them, for not doing them, for breaking them, for finding ways to cheat the diet when I thought I was being so clever doing it and just trying to like work my way around it, but really not doing it. You know, it does take effort to be consistent, and it's about doing it, finding what works and doing it day in and day out, no matter what. And if you do that, you will get the results, but you need the consistency and you need the time and you need to stick to it, which is never the funnest thing to talk about, because you're talking about discipline, you're talking about rigor, and those are the things that we kind of feel like we've got these voices going, yeah, whatever. But it is important to do that. And if you apply the consistency, you put the effort in, you will get the results. The third thing is that you need to confront yourself and your truth. You need to hold that mirror up and you need to just accept you and where you're at. And one of those things is to really challenge yourself. Do you really want to diet? Because we all tell ourselves, oh yes, I want to diet. But do you want to diet enough to put the effort that it takes to get those results? So, because I talk about my diet with people and they'll ask me, oh no, I couldn't, the conversation starts with, you've lost so much weight, great, what have you done? So I tell them what I've done, and then they go, oh, so you don't eat anything? Sorry, let me backtrack. People will ask you, you've done so well, you've lost weight, what have you been doing? Because I could definitely do with losing weight myself. So it all starts with them internalizing, applying what they're seeing in you to themselves. And what you will get from people is a view through their lens. That's what they will communicate to you. So it starts with, I could really do with losing weight. It's like, okay, what have you done about it? That's the question that they ask you, so that I'll say I've done the Cambridge Weight Plan, 6 steps, step 1, blah, blah, blah. So what about food? I know the food is the products. You substitute your meals for 3 or 4 products, and those are your meals. And you don't eat anything. So I do. I eat 4 product replacement meals, but you don't eat any food. No, I don't. I have my products, and that is my food, and that has all of the nutrients that I need. Oof, I don't think I could do that. Well, if you want to lose the weight, but you don't think you could do that, then do you really want to lose the weight? Or you just want to feel better about the weight that you have, but not having to lose the weight? So I'm not shaming, by the way. I have been there. I have done that myself a million times, but I know what it's like to feel like you have the commitment, but then not be willing to put in the effort and that real commitment that it takes to do it. So if you have any reservations in your mind around what it takes to do the diet, really hold up the mirror and check with yourself in terms of what is it that you're trying to do, because you may not be in the right headspace yet. But the other thing that is very important in terms of just facing, what I call facing yourself and holding that mirror and doing what it is that you need to do, is that you also just need to accept yourself as you are, because we all carry all of those internal shoulds in our heads of what we need to do. And I think what's really helped me to focus through this diet is that for a period before I even started the diet, I went through a complete, this is me, unapologetically. I don't care. If you like me, great. If you don't like me, dump it. I don't care. I'm just going to do what I want. Now, in my case, that led me to eat anything I wanted and to put more weight than I ever did. But I feel like that is something I needed to do to understand how far I was actually pushing myself through that behavior, and for me to get to the point that I did not want to do that anymore for my own sake, not because I felt that my parents thought that I should be dieting, or because I felt that my colleagues were looking at me funny, or because I was worried about what my husband might be thinking about me. None of that mattered, and those might have been reasons why I have dieted in the past. But that was not what led me to diet this time. It was just me being in a space of, you know what, I've done what I wanted. That led me to feel really uncomfortable with myself. I'm not happy right now. I need to do something about it. But I also was very clear in my head that I needed to find something that worked for me. So I'm not trying to sell the Cambridge diet to you. I don't get paid for it. None of this is sponsored or anything like that. It's just purely my opinion. But the reason why I came to the Cambridge diet is because I wanted something that was easy to incorporate into my daily routines, something that helped me to not have to think about what I was eating and how to weigh it or everything every day whilst I was losing the weight, and something that I knew was going to give me a fair amount of weight loss in the quickest time possible. Knowing that it's about the weight loss, but then the maintenance. You can't just go from weight loss to then eating how I was eating, because you will just balloon even more. So I was very clear that it would take effort, but I would rather lose the weight first and then focus on maintaining than doing the slow and gradual thing. 'Cause I'm just not that kind of person. Some people are, and kudos to you, because I do not have the patience for that. But I know that I need results. I need to see them. I need to see them quickly, or I get very easily discouraged. So I started to look for diets that worked with the way I think and with the way that I feel and with the way that I emotionally react to the weight loss that I get. And that led me to try to find Slim Fast. And then from Slim Fast, I said, this is not working. I tried to look something else, and that's how I came across the Cambridge diet. And I think I've been successful because it works with how I think. It's given me the results. It's the products I enjoy. I find tasty. I've worked through the products that I look forward to eating, so I don't feel deprived. But I was very keen that, Slim Fast, I just wasn't enjoying the products in any way, and they were making me feel hungry. So when I found the Cambridge diet and I tried it, I enjoyed the products. They were making me feel full. I had good energy level, but I also learned that I needed to pace the products, and I needed to be quite rigorous with the timing of them, because the second that I lapsed in the amount of time that it took me between one product or the next, I felt like absolute rubbish. and I thought, okay, this is not supportive. If I continue to do this, I'm not going to stick to it. So I held up the mirror in terms of what do I need to do and how do I need to manage this for me to be able to stick to it. And that has made a big difference. And I think that's been a key to why I've been able to do it for such a long period of time, because 6 months is a long time to be on a diet, and especially on a diet like this. And I'm still happy to do it. I'm still going for another 3 months of this so that I can get to my ultimate weight goal. So it's working for me, and all I'm saying is what works for me doesn't have to work for you. You need to find how you think and what might be more useful for you, and then try to find the right diet that fits you and your specific needs. I guess that's the biggest reflection there. And I guess linked in with that, so one of the things is what works for you, and part of confronting yourself leads me to the next point, which is about focus. What are you focusing on every day, and what is it that you're going to do to help you keep your focus on the diet and on your weight loss? Because it's so easy to get distracted. For me, I'll give you an example. I'm a big foodie. I love to try food. I love going out to restaurants. I love to try different things. So being on a diet where you're not doing any of that was a big commitment for me. But I was also aware that I've been trying to do multiple diets and still maintain the lifestyle that I had of going out for meals and cooking meals myself and doing different things. I was enjoying it and I was loving it, but it wasn't getting me the results and I wasn't feeling good about myself. So it took me focus to think, what will it take and how I'm going to manage, and really helped me to focus on what are the things that are working and that are not working for me, and really think about those and work through solutions on how I'm going to manage it. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do what I do. I have made the choice to not go out, to not surround myself with food, to not, I'll go out for a coffee. I forgot coffee the other day. I went to a drive-through McDonald's and I ordered a black coffee and I drove off feeling incredibly smug about myself because I had gone to McDonald's and just ordered a black coffee and that was it. I was delighted. So I will go out and I'll meet friends for coffee and everything, but I've made a choice that I'm not going to socialize by going out for meals. I'm not going to socialize by bringing people to my house and cooking big meals for them in the same way that I used to do before. I'm not doing any of that. So my social life is a lot more reduced than it used to be, but this is what I need for me right now. So I will meet people up and I'll go for a coffee and we will have a lovely afternoon chat and we'll have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or they might have a drink and I'll have a glass of water. I'll do things like that, but I am not going out to eat because that is not how I want to associate me having fun with food, because it should be different things. I should not make food my fun, and that's what it was before. So I had to find a way of focusing on that, but also I've had to find a way of identifying what is the thing that is going to drive me through all of this time period. And for me, I would say it's about health, but what really was driving me is more energy. Like I kept feeling that I was just not myself and I was drained and I was depleted and I wasn't turning up every day I felt a disconnect between the person that I knew I was inside and the person that was turning up for work, for family gatherings, for anything like that, because I just didn't have the energy and the weight loss was dampening my mood, and therefore I wasn't, the energy I was projecting just wasn't me either, and I didn't want that. I wanted to change that. So it's almost like I just wanted to reconnect with me and bring the best in me, but I knew that was the reason why I was feeling like that and doing that is because the weight was impacting my health in different ways, whether I wanted to face it or not. Whether it was back pain, whether it was through brain fog, whether it's through mood, whatever it is that it is, but that level for me is that level of personal energy and that feeling when you know you're at your best and you feel like you're in your zone and you're happy with what you're doing, and you may have stuff going on, but you're on it and you're good. versus the days when I describe it, and you've heard me describing this before if you've been in my channel before. I used to feel like I had to peel my soul off my pillow to get up in the mornings. You shouldn't have to feel like that. Nobody should. So finding the thing that focuses you, that keeps you going, and tuning into that every day, and thinking about how you're going to go through it, and what is it that you're going to do throughout the weight loss to keep focus on that, so that you don't forget the progress you've made and why you started and why you want to keep going. So for me, it was about attaining that energy state and then attaining the right level of health. So getting to a BMI that is in the normal range, is that I just want to be in a normal weight range. That's what I want to be. I don't need to be at the thinnest, I don't whatever, I just want to be in normal. And if I get to that, I know that physically I will be okay. That means that physically I will be at the best that I need to be, and that's what I want to be. It wasn't for my wedding, it wasn't for a friend, it wasn't for anything like that. But if that is what motivates you, what drives you, tune into that. You choose whatever it is that is really going to drive you and it's going to keep you focused. Because some people are very goal oriented like that, and you may need an event to go after. But this weight loss doesn't end at the event. It's a life choice. So how do you fit that throughout so that you can continue to focus on that? Because guaranteed, if you're focused on an event, you will still need to continue to focus on maintaining after the event. So how are you going to fit that into your life? So that focus is very important. Next point, apologies, this is going to be a bit of a long one, so grab your cups of coffee. I've got my coffee with me because it's early in the morning. And therefore, it's going to keep me going. So, next point, take care of your health. Last week's video I said about, take care of you and the importance of you taking care of yourself. But this is focusing on your health. So as you go through the diet, you will feel different things. And you need to make sure that you're looking out for yourself at all times. So I've mentioned earlier, one of the earliest things I learned through this to make sure that from a health-wise perspective, I felt at my best at all times, was to make sure that I was very regimental with the timing of the product intake. Doing a very low calorie diet means that your body has very little energy to survive throughout the whole day. And you need to take care of your poor little body to make sure that it has enough energy to keep on going. And I went one day without food for 7 hours. I ate at midday and then I didn't eat till after 7, maybe even 8 o'clock. By the time it got to 8 o'clock, I literally felt like a flu bomb had just hit me. I had the shakes, I felt cold, there was no amount of heat or blankets that was warming me up. I was shivering, I was shaking, I ate my product, but it was still, I felt like it was doing good, but I was too far gone and it impacted me so much. And the next day I still felt like I had a bit of this hangover feeling. And I've tried not to do that again. I've gone a couple of times with extended periods of food, but for me, eating at the right times, I need to wake up, have a big glass of water first thing in the morning, first thing I do, hydrate my body. Next thing, have my products. So, and if I'm driving into the office and if I'm driving into work and I'm not working from home, I will wait until I make it into the product, mainly because I have an hour commute and otherwise I won't be able to make it without stopping somewhere for the loo. TMI, but there you go. So I wait until I get into the office. But once I'm in the office, the first thing I do, put my computer on the table, pick up my jug, go and make my drink. These days I make my shake into a hot chocolate, which I love. So I'll make my hot chocolate with my fiber. I have that, and then I'm good to go. And then I drink water consistently throughout the day. And then between 12:30 and 2 o'clock, that's my bracket for having my lunch. And I'll make sure that whatever I do, I have my lunch at that time. And then I'll carry on, and then anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30 will be my dinner time, maybe 8 o'clock if I'm on a late day, but then after that I'll need to eat something at 8 o'clock. Before, when I was on 4 products, I used to have my snacks at 9:30. now I have my third product, and then at 9:30ish or throughout, I'll have a cup of tea. And that feels, or I may have made a mix of mousse, I've made the jelly, and that's what I have. So that's how I pace myself. And I know that if I don't stick to that routine, I feel like absolute rubbish. So I'm not doing that to myself. I take care of that. So if you want to stick to a diet like this, you need to make sure that you are giving your body what it needs, and you listen to those body needs, and you're addressing that. It may be that you have other type of problems or not. There are people that have women that have PCOS, and they've not had a period, and then after a few days of dieting it comes back. That can really knock you down. You may have my husband used to have quite a lot of wasn't diagnosed sleep apnea. I know that it was sleep apnea because his brother had it, and he'd gone to the doctors and got support. But I know that my husband was struggling because he was keeping me at night listening to him breathing, and I could tell that he was stopping breathing, and that was scaring me so much. And as he went through his weight loss process, he went through a period of different type of snoring, and then after that it died down, and now he stopped altogether. I can barely hear him when he's breathing at night, so sometimes I just touch him to check that he still breathes. Like, okay, he's still fine. But he's gone through different things. I used to have pains on my legs as I was walking from the amount of weight that it was putting on my spine. The pressure it was putting on my spine. So that went through different degrees of pain, and I had to take into account how I was managing that as I was losing the heavier part of my weight. So there will be things. Listen to your body. Your body is screaming out for help often. So if you're feeling anything, please make sure that you're listening to that and you take care of your health. Because the diet is one element, but you need to make sure that all of the other areas are taken into account. And whichever way you do the diet, make sure that if you are doing a low calorie diet, you are spacing those meals and you're giving your body what it needs so that you can keep on functioning. Because otherwise you'll be making life really, really tough for yourself. So please, 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 please look after your health and think about how you're going to continue to nourish your body. We continue. The next point is habits. So I've mentioned around consistency, but turning that consistency into habits so you don't even have to think about it. You just, in the morning, you go for your tea, you go for your water, you go for your product, you do this, and you don't have to think about it. And taking out, I'm somebody who always likes to think that I'm a bit of a free spirit, and I love to build in a little bit of improvisation in life, and I like to keep things open so that you can just see how things go and just flex and adapt as it goes along. But the reality is that all of that doesn't help you for something like this. So that routine and being very clear on what you need to do and making those decisions, but then removing that element of decision making from then every day, so that when whatever weakness or different situations strike, you don't fall for it and you're just like, no, that's not what I do. This is what I do. This is my routine. I stick to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next day, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just carry through it. And taking away that element of on-the-spot decision making helps you to make the right decisions and the right actions for yourself. So building those habits and keeping them and having consistency is super important. So please keep that in mind. The next big thing, which I think is super important, and it goes with the mindset, is some people refer to it as a growth mindset. I guess it's a positive attitude. So how you choose to view things makes a big difference to what you do. So if you stay positive, you're more likely to be able to face a setback. So rather than knocking yourself down, and I've been in the space where I would suffer a setback, or I would do something that I wasn't proud of, or I felt like, oh, I've ruined the diet now. I would go into this space of, well, I've ruined it now, so I might as well just eat whatever I want, and then, well, I feel rubbish about myself, so I just start comfort eating again, and then you do something else, and then before you know, you're eating, and you're in this big negative loop. Whereas if you have a positive mindset, you go, okay, that wasn't ideally you wouldn't make the right decision, but if the wrong decision, but if you make a wrong decision, it's like, okay, that didn't work, or that wasn't the right thing to do, then rather than knocking yourself down, you go, okay, what is my lesson here? That wasn't a clever choice, so I shouldn't do that in the future. But what can I do instead, or how can I manage that differently in the future? What will I do differently to avoid this happening again? And how can I set myself to make the better choice next time? And then that puts you back in control. So you're not at the mercy of those emotions. You are then in a space where you are in control of what you're doing, and you own your actions, you own your mistakes. I mean, we all make them, so don't beat yourself up about it, but do something about it, do something positive. Okay, you've messed up. Fine. What was it that you did? What didn't work? What is the lesson? What can you do differently? How are you going to make sure that you do that in the future? Do you feel like you now are equipped to deal with that should it happen again? Yes. So then go out, try it, and when you get a different result and you feel like you are back in control and you're able to do it, that gives you a different feeling, and that makes you feel better about it, and then you learn to do that again, and you stop beating yourself up over it, and you're in a space where you can really start to act on that differently. So I really encourage you to think about how do you keep that positive mindset so that you can find a way to push through problems and to work through them, as opposed to get yourself stuck, get frustrated with yourself, go into the space of personal rejection, or fighting, or flighting, or procrastination, which we've all been there. We're only human, but we can actually do more about it than we realize if we put our minds to it, which we've been talking about. The other thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of what does it take to lose the weight is you will deal with disappointment. I mean, I spoke about problems, whether it's with yourself or whether it's with other people or whether it's with the results on the scale when you get on it and it doesn't tell you what you want to see, or when people react in a way to you that is not how you expected. As you're going through change and as you're trying to achieve goals, you will face disappointments. That happens, and people will let you down, situations will let you down, you will let yourself down, the scales will let you down, the world will let you down, things will happen, and it won't always be as you want it, but that is okay. You just have to accept that not everything will be perfect, but that's not happen with this view of how do I keep moving forward. Is there anything I need to do differently, and how do I deal with that situation? I know in the past one of my biggest problems has been when I've plateaued and when I felt like I wasn't getting the weight loss that I wanted. Now, I've had a fair amount of weight loss, so it seems ironic for me to say that. But a couple of weeks back, I felt like it was slowing down. It was 1 week. I know it isn't fair, but I had my moment of feeling like that, like it was a plateau, and I have to talk myself through it, because you do get to the point and you're like, oh my God, is this really worth it? And of course it is. It is 1 week. It is one setback. Don't hold back. Just keep going at it. Find a way to work around it. Find a way to give you a boost. That's what will make a biggest difference. But accept that you will have disappointments. Don't try to avoid them. They will happen. But just learn that you can deal with them, and that's all you need to do. Just deal with them. So, how do you do that? Through the next point, which is persistence. This is not just about consistency, it's about keeping at it. You've heard me say by now about 20 times, how do you keep moving forward? You need to be relentless in your persistence of pursuing that goal that you set for yourself. So, I know I want to lose 70 kilos, a whole person. That's what I want to do. That's not going to happen overnight. That I just need to keep focused on that, and no matter how much weight I achieve, I'm not going to stop until I hit 70 and 70 kilos lost. I focus on that every single day. Every single day I know that's what I want to achieve. I'm doing this because I want to get to that, and that pushes me through every single thing. So what is it that helps you push through? Through disappointment, we know that efforts not always equal results. So you need to just deal with that part. but your results will come when you put consistent effort and you persevere and you keep focusing on it. And that involves planning, that involves recalibrating where you are. That means when you achieve the next stage, what does it take for you to continue to succeed? Because things will evolve, so you will need to persistently focus on what do you need to do to continue to have the results. You can't just assume that I've made the decision once and I've done what I was doing and now I was getting results, but now I'm not. You can't just assume that you can sit still doing the same thing all the time. As you lose different parts of different levels of weight loss, you will have different needs, and you need to continue to consistently focus on what does it take for me to achieve the next stage. And that will be really important. So persistence is key, keeping going. How do you keep going when you have failed? How do you keep going when you're not getting the results that you want? How do you keep going when you don't feel like it? Because we all have days that we don't feel like it. How do you keep going when you just feel, I am so over it, I want a nice big meal? How do I do that? How do you keep going when when you get a setback? But also, how do you keep going when you get to your goal? Because I've said that this is not just about reaching the weight. How do you keep going to sustain the weight loss that you've had? How do you visualize that, what your new life should be after that? You can't just leave it at that. So how do you keep going, moving forward all the time? That is key, in keeping that focus. So I am a bit overly persistent myself on that, but I think that's a super important point. Anyway, moving on to the next point, and I've got a few more, so please bear with me. I know that this is a long video, but focus on your goals. So that keep going means that you need to have that end goal inside. You need to be very clear on what it is, but you need to break it down. You can't just go from nothing to like 100. You need to know, how do you get there? So for me, I've said I want to lose 70 kilos in total. That's not going to happen overnight. So how do I get to my first 5? How do I get to my first 10? How do I get to 15? How do I get to 20? How do I get to halfway point? How do I get to the next point? How do I get to the final stage? It's about continuing to do that, and how many steps will it take to do it. So I've shared with you in the past that I've got my little weight loss tracker, and I color in when I've done achieved the different stages, and I'm tracking that. But that keeps me focused on all the different steps that I need to do, and it helps me to take stock of how far have I gone, but also what I still have to do. And that is very important in terms of just visualizing what it's going to take to get to that final step, because I think you need to go through some of that process to really challenge yourself. Am I willing to put into this everything I need to do that? And really be clear on what is going to take from you to be able to achieve that weight loss goal. So I think that's quite important. The other thing, moving on to the other thing that following a diet like this, or achieving any big goals requires from you is, I guess, a certain level of cost, be it financial cost and expenses, the money that it's going to cost you to buy the products, or time, or energy, or emotions, but there is going to be a cost associated with that, and you have to know that, and you have to be willing to do that cost. Call it sacrifice, call it expense, call it whatever it might be, but you are going to have to find the money, find the time, find the space, find the energy, find the support for it. Those are going to be the resources you're going to need to make it happen. So make sure that you are equipped to do that, to support you throughout the whole process. Sorry, I'm talking a lot and I'm losing my voice. So the next one, time management. I know that there's quite a few of you out there that are big planners. You know the whole point around is it fail to plan is plan to fail, and I totally relate with that. But time management specifically is something that is really important, because this is not just about visualizing what it takes, it's about making it a priority and fitting it into your life. So how are you going to fit what you need to do to support you get set up for success into your life, whether it's choosing the products, whether it's going to see your consultant, whether it's finding the time to talk to that one friend that understands you and that is going to help you stay focused, whether it's to go for a run, whether it's whatever it is. For you to achieve that goal, you're going to have to make the time for it, and you have to make that a priority. And do not sacrifice that time for anything. Just ring fence it and be ruthless about saying, this is time that I need to dedicate to this for me to be able to achieve what I need. And therefore, I'm not going to sacrifice it, and I'm not going to compromise that time for something else. So do not compromise yourself. Do not compromise your time, and spend it because you're worth doing that on. And you will need it to make sure that you're achieving your results. The other point I have is determination. I guess I've gone through that in terms of persistence, but you need to be really determined that this is what you're going to do. You know, it goes back to the focus. So I guess I may have covered that already. But also, as you keep meeting your targets, keep thinking about what it takes for the next one. So that focus is really important. But I think it's more about how do you keep that forward-looking vision so you keep yourself going. That I was thinking when I was thinking about determination. And then there's two things three things that people don't like to talk about. But I mentioned about the disappointment. There's a couple of other things that go along with that. So one of them is tears. You will have tears. I mean, this is an emotional process. You will go through a lot. You will confront yourself. You will confront your feelings. You will confront your actions, your past decisions, your current decisions, your future ones. You have to go through all of that. There's a lot to process. It will be an emotional process. Just accept it and don't block the emotions. Feel them, but also think, okay, don't just dwell on them. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is. But then, okay, why is this happening? And then how does this help me? How do I move forward from this? This is like my motto now, keep moving forward. But you will have those moments. So just accept it. There's nothing wrong with that. Tears are emotions that are pent up that need to come out. Just if whatever you're feeling is better to let it out than to just bottle it in. So allow yourself to feel that, and if you're feeling emotional, just accept that that's what you're feeling, but just find your way to keep moving forward. And maybe you're just having a giant stroke because you want to eat something and you can't, and you're battling with yourself, and you could shame yourself into thinking it's not worth crying over. If you need to have that cry so you can learn to deal with that emotion, and the next time you don't have a cry, you just know how to do it, just give yourself the space to feel that. Believe me, if you're feeling like that is because you have emotions that you need to learn to deal with. Don't bottle them up. Just allow it to happen. The other thing is, I guess you could call it sleepless nights. You could call it worries. I don't necessarily keep myself awake at night thinking about my diet. Believe me, I do not. I sleep like a baby when I do. But I call it that more from a worry perspective. There will be things that worry you. When you start losing weight on food replacements, you may worry about reintroducing food. I was worried at the start of this week about reintroducing food. That was something that worried me. I spent the whole week wondering whether it was going to make me put weight or not. My husband, he's reached his goal weight and he's now moving to step 4. And every time he adds calories, he worries about, is this going to make him put weight back on again? I worry, you may worry about what people may be thinking or saying about you. You may worry about people's reactions, because we all know that we have those super helpful people that just throw random comments out without caring the world about the impact that might have on you. And you're the one that is left to just chew on that, and you're the one that is in your head going through it. So, you will have worries, but don't avoid them. Just confront it, and it is a part of the process that you'll need to work through. But know that if you're feeling that, you're actually in a good place, because it probably means that you're getting some traction and you're reaching the next stage where you need to deal with something. So actually, even if you have those worries, it is a good thing. You are going through something, or you're processing something that you need to process. So also give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, because you are actually dealing with stuff that you need to deal with. And combined with the people part, there is the worry, but there's also an element of rejection. This rejection of your decision to do that type of diet, and they could reject it, but it's up to you whether you let that affect you or not. It could be rejection for your new clothes style when you start wearing different clothes. It could be rejection of how you react because you feel more confident about yourself, and then you may become more outspoken and people are not used to it, so they may just reject that and you get different perspectives. So you could have different degrees of rejection to what you're doing, to the new you or not. None of that matters. That is their choice. That is outside of you. That is their problem. You are making the right choices for you. If they reject it, then they're not supporting you. And if they're not supporting you, then do they really have the best interest at heart? And should you really be worrying about that? I'll say no more. You worry about yourself. You fight your own inner demons. What you need to make sure is that you're not rejecting your own choices yourself because of your own internal dialogue. That is the one that you need to, that's why that positive mindset is so important. So please make sure that that before you start, you give yourself the space, and that you go through that element of accepting yourself in your full splendor, because that's what's going to help you to move forward without allowing that inner voice to just get the better of you. So I think that's everything. I'm conscious I've gone through loads, and I was going to do a quick recap of all of the weight loss that I've had. I was going to do it by week, but let me just do it by month, so that you can get a sense of why I'm saying that all of those things are important, because I've been doing this for 6 months now, and I'm not saying I've got it. I won't say that I've conquered this until I think 2 years after I've been 2 years at goal weight. That's when I probably will feel like I've got more of a right of saying, yes, I've done this, and I know that this is what it took from me. But as I'm going through that, I'm learning that those are things that I've been doing this time round that I haven't done in other diets, that I may not talk about as openly, but there are definitely things that I do regularly and that are really helping me to lose the weight. So here is the result of all of that effort that I've just gone through, because after everything I have just discussed, you could just think, Anna, I'm not sure I've got it in me to go through all of that, and is it really worth to go through all of that focus, all of that determination, the rejections, the worry, all of that stuff? Well, remember, we started with, what was it that you saw? You saw positive results, you saw rapid weight loss, you saw somebody looking like they had more energy, more confidence, happier, etc. That has happened because I've done all of the other stuff, and I have therefore made great strides towards achieving the results that I want. And this is why. So I've started doing it in June. In June, I lost 11.4 kilos. That's 25 pounds. That's 1.8 stones. In July, I lost 4.9 kilos, which is 10.9 pounds. And that is just over 3/4 of a stone. In August, I lost 7.1 kilos. That was 15.8 pounds, and that's 1.1 stone. In September, I lost 5.8 kilos. That is 12.9 pounds, and that is 0.9 stone, so just under 1 stone. In October, I lost 6.7 kilos. That is 14.9 pounds, and that is 1 stone, just 1.1, just short of 1.1. And in the last month, in the month of November, I lost 5.1 kilos, 11.3 pounds, and that's 0.8 stone. So a total of 41. I've got some roundings in there, so it doesn't quite get to the 41.9 that I spoke about at the start in terms of my total weight loss. But a total weight loss in 6 months of 41.9, okay, almost 42 kilos, right? If you ask me now, was it worth all of that effort? Was it worth all of that focus? Was it worth me holding up the mirror and dealing with my emotions and stopping eating my emotions and putting them back into myself? Absolutely. not to say other things, but you know what I mean. So for me, that was worth it. So when you're doing it, it feels like effort, but I also think I can't believe that 6 months have gone past already, and I have already lost 41 kilos. Seriously, it's so easy to just bleh, say that, but it's so incredible that that has happened already. That was before the start of the summer. I was feeling like absolute rubbish about myself. I was just not in a good place. I was so tired all the time. I felt horrible. It took one day to start. I'm not even sure I fully understood what I was doing the day that I started, but I was focused on what I wanted to achieve. And I've been working it out as I've been going along. Um, and the results speak for themselves. And for me, those results are worth the effort that I've put in. So I'm hoping that you're getting results that you want. I'm hoping that you are feeling the benefit of the effort that you're putting in. And if you haven't, don't worry about it, because you know that you can still do something about it. It's just about finding the right solution and finding the way to just keep yourself moving towards what you want. So super long video, so I'm going to stop there, but I will say next week my consultant is on holiday, so she won't be around and I won't get formally weighed, but I will still be weighing myself. So I thought next week I would do something different, and I will be doing a Q&A. So rather than me coming up with the topic, I'm going to go through the comments that I've had. There's a few of you that have been asking me a few really good questions recently, so I'm going to include those and I'm going to cover those in detail, like things around how my clothes choices have changed, something about my beauty routine, about different things. So if you have any questions, please, anything you'd like me to touch on, anything you'd like me to address, then please leave the questions. I'm going to do the Q&A, and anything I've got, I'll go through. So it'll be as long or as short as the questions that I have, but I'll go through anything you want. The one thing that I haven't covered this time around, and I said I might think into it, is to share with you what meals did I eat during step 2. So I will put that into next week Q&A. So I look forward to hearing your questions, and I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you for bearing with me if you've made it this far. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you all soon. All the best. Bye.